Hi, my name is Kirsten Klaus. I'm a member of Cheshire TV. The purpose of this recording is to outline some of the concerns the membership has about some of the directors on the board of directors. The reason we're doing this is because of an upcoming members meeting wherein the membership has the right, as laid out in the bylaws, to remove and replace directors. There was a board meeting on Tuesday, January 5th, where the newly elected directors by the membership took their seats and participated in their first board meeting. What happened was very distressing, and so I'm doing this to kind of talk about some of the concerns of the membership and things that the newly elected directors were trying to communicate to a dismissive and at times hostile board. One of the first things that the new board members tried to do was call into attention the fact that there are currently directors who have in the past sat on the board illegally or are currently not board directors, or their status is in question, and I want to talk about that first. The first thing I'd like to talk about is those board directors who are appointed by municipalities or the school districts. I've got the bylaws right here, and if you'd like to follow along, they're on the Cheshire TV website under policies. I'm in Article 7, the Board of Directors, Section 7.03, Composition of the Board, and I'd like to draw your attention to Item 5. In the event that any of the entities entitled to appoint a member to the board chooses not to appoint or has otherwise not appointed a board member by September 30th, the board shall appoint a director to represent that entity at the organizational meeting. The election happens in the summertime and is over by the annual meeting in October. At the annual meeting in October, the Inspector of Elections certifies the election, the new board members take their seats, and the election of officers and assignment of committees happens. September 30th, remember, that's the date when the respective municipalities or entities, the school districts, appoint or reappoint the directors to the board. This is done by letter, and it is either solicited by the existing board or they send it on their own. Last year, there was no election in time for the annual meeting, so the election just happened. The organizational meeting went ahead as planned, and they appointed officers and committees with the board members who were available. However, at that time, we had not received letters from the Keene State College or the Keene School District, which means that those two appointees at that time were not members of the board. They only recently received their letters, and the letters were dated the date that they were sent. They weren't backdated to September 30th. So if, for the sake of argument, a letter was dated December 15th, that means that anything that happened between September 30th and December 15th, that member wasn't on the board. When the newly elected directors, who were, by the way, the only sitting directors on the board elected by the membership, tried to bring this to the rest of the board's attention, the attorney referred to these technicalities as mumbo jumbo. They did make a motion to temporarily suspend the voting rights of anyone that we are unsure of their status. The vote failed. The board members who existed prior to and beyond the election dismissed these comments and really didn't want to talk about it. Now I'd like to talk about a different situation where across the board, no pun intended, in order to be on the board of directors, you must be a member of Cheshire TV and a member of Cheshire TV in good standing, but I'd like to focus on just being a member of Cheshire TV. Now I'm in the bylaws in Article 9, Officers/Executive Director. In Section 9-01, Qualifications of Elected and Appointed Officers, it says, all elected, designated, and appointed directors of Cheshire TV shall be individual members of Cheshire TV in good standing and shall be 18 years of age or older. Elsewhere in Article 8, the election of directors, Section 8.02, nomination by petition, the very first sentence is that any individual member in good standing may be nominated by the membership using the following procedure, and then it explains how the membership nominates their own candidates for the election. So in two places in the bylaws, it's very clear that you must be a member of Cheshire TV to be a director. One of the appointed directors of Cheshire TV was appointed in April, and at that time, she was not a member of Cheshire TV. Her membership paperwork was only filled out relatively recently. When the membership became aware that she wasn't a member because we could not locate her paperwork anywhere, we brought it to the board's attention. She filled out the membership paperwork, and the board said, we're good to go. The attorney, I think that this might have been covered in the attorney saying that these technicalities were mumbo jumbo. They're laws, by the way. These are laws. So anything that happened between when she was appointed and when her paperwork was filled out, she wasn't a legal member of the board because she wasn't a Cheshire TV member. Again, the 5 newly elected board members speaking for the membership and the membership's concerns wanted to temporarily suspend the voting rights until this could all get sorted out. And we were told, it's fine, we got the paperwork, we're good to go. You can't backdate legal documents. Cheshire TV has a relationship with the city of Keene, and taxpayer dollars fund Cheshire TV. A city councilor for the city of Keene sits on the board of directors. In the past, when the membership has tried to alert the board and the city that there were major problems putting the operating rights agreement at risk, the same city councilor said that he had talked to the mayor and everything was fine. At Tuesday's board meeting, when the newly elected director started to push back and draw to light these issues, the same city councilor made a comment that the city of Keene writes us a big check every month and they're not going to like this. We don't really know what that means, but he referred to the contention, which for us, it's just talking about real major problems that need to be resolved moving forward. And while I don't know what he meant by that, several of us took it as a vague kind of threat that if we kept talking about problems instead of keeping our mouths shut. The founding principle of Cheshire TV is the First Amendment. The entire reason it exists is so that anybody has a platform to speak their mind. And throughout the history of Cheshire TV, there have been moments when the city didn't like what people had to say, but that's the way the First Amendment works. And Cheshire TV is a membership organization. So even though the city councilor made a comment, and part of me is deeply concerned that just by doing this, I might harm Cheshire TV in some way, I do have a little bit of anxiety even speaking up or speaking my truth or raising to light grave issues that concern the membership to the point where the members want to remove some of the board of directors. But I really believe in my heart that the founding principle of Cheshire TV being the freedom of speech and the platform for people to speak their mind will outweigh anything a city councilor says. During the course of the conversation about whether or not these directors had voting rights and wanting to suspend the voting rights temporarily until we sort this out, one director mentioned that even if that was the case, they didn't participate in anything that mattered. That's not quite true, because one of them did participate in the firing of 2 employees. One of them did participate in the hiring of a law firm starting at over $2,000. One of them did participate in the hiring of a former board member as the executive director, despite him being completely unqualified for the job. Within weeks, there was a physical altercation with an employee. So with all due respect, I'm going to go out there and say that these votes mattered, and it matters whether or not there was the legal right to do so. During the board meeting, one of the things that had to happen was that the newly elected board members had to draw lots to determine how long their terms would be. One of the directors who was there prior to the election made the comment of, why even bother with term limits? We went ahead and proceeded with the drawing of lots for term limits, but it is a grave concern that a member of the board is suggesting openly that we just not follow the bylaws. Toward the end of the meeting, one of the members of the board said to the newly elected board members, we will make sure you get a packet with all of the things that we never got. It'll have the bylaws, it'll have the operating rights agreement, it'll have the handbook. Those are all on the website. We already have the bylaws. The newly elected directors have already read them because they're on the website. At the beginning of this video, I told you that if you wanted to follow along, where to find them. This same director facilitated the live streaming of the channel on an ad-based platform In order to be a member, you have to sign a handbook, and in that handbook, it talks about copyright violation. On the website, copyright violation is explained extensively, and that's because copyright violation is a really big deal. We were so appalled when we realized that so many Cheshire TV producers had their copyright violated that we brought it to her attention, because we felt that this was among the most egregious behaviors we had seen so far. Certainly, we don't think it was intentional, but it highlights, and it was completely dismissed. In the bylaws of Cheshire TV, the membership is afforded the right to remove and replace board directors without cause. This was created specifically in the event that the membership decided that there were directors on the board who weren't doing a good job, they could remove them. That meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 12th, and it is a Zoom call. Information about the meeting can be found on the Cheshire TV website under the calendar page. Again, I just want to say that the only reason I'm doing this is because the membership has tried every avenue we can think of to try to rein in a rogue board, and nothing has worked. 6 months ago, this started with helpful emails offering guidance. We gave them all the handbook from the New Hampshire Charitable Organizations, which is an overview of their legal responsibilities. We tried to explain bylaws to them. We alerted them when they were making mistakes. It was all in good faith. Now we've reached a point where a pattern of behavior has been established, and the membership has decided that certain directors no longer have the ability to try. They have failed too many times, or they have been too dismissive of the membership. They have limited rights. They have held meetings in secret, all in the name of we're doing our best. Always we hear, let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. It's not appropriate to make whatever decision you want, dismiss the laws that would get you in trouble, and cherry pick the bylaws that you want to follow to suit your needs. It's not appropriate to do whatever you want, regardless of the consequences, in the name of we're trying our best. I look forward to the opportunity as a member to exercise my right to protect the organization by removing those directors who I feel are doing a bad enough job that it would require this type of response. I wish it hadn't come to this. I know some of these people. It's very painful for me that it has come to this, but nothing else has worked. This is a limited explanation of some of the things that have happened, and if you're looking for additional information, the membership has created a Facebook page called Friends of CTV. There are posts on there that outline other problems that have happened, and you can feel free to reach out to that page if you have any questions or need additional information. And I really regret that this is happening. I regret that I'm even recording this video, because if I didn't love Cheshire TV so much, then I would just hope for the best, but I just don't feel like that's the right thing to do.